creation of Middle-earth and Eru Ilúvatar. The story of Middle-earth begins with Eru Ilúvatar, the supreme creator who existed beyond time and space. He alone brought forth existence, shaping reality through his divine thought and will. Before the world's birth, Ilúvatar created the Ainur, immortal spirits, each representing different aspects of creation. Some embodied nature, others wisdom or strength. The most powerful of these spirits were called the Valar, who would descend into the world to shape and protect it. Lesser spirits, the Maiar, served them. But among the Ainur, Melkor was the greatest and the most rebellious. He longed to create independently, to rule and shape existence according to his own will. His growing pride and ambition would later plunge the world into darkness. The Aulindala. The music of the Ainur Ilúvatar gathered the Ainur and revealed to them a divine melody, a grand theme that would shape the fabric of existence. The Ainur sang together, their voices blending in perfect harmony. This was the Ainu Lindale, the first great act of creation. But Melkor, desiring power, introduced discord into the music, disrupting its harmony. He sought to impose his own will, and chaos spread through the song. Yet Ilúvatar, rather than stopping him, wove even greater beauty into the melody, showing that even defiance could serve a higher purpose. When the music ended, Ilúvatar revealed what they had created, a vision of Arda, the world that would become Middle-earth. The Ainur saw its lands, oceans, and its greatest mystery, elves and men, the children of Ilúvatar. But this was only a vision, not yet reality. Then Ilúvatar spoke a single, mighty word. Let it be. With this command, the world was made real. The Valar and the shaping of the world, whom Ainur, captivated by Arda, chose to descend into it, becoming the Valar, the great lords of Middle-earth. Among them was Manwë, the Lord of the Winds, chosen as Arda's ruler. With him were Ulmo, master of the seas, Aule, the forger of the mountains, and Yavanna, the giver of life. Others included Mandos, keeper of fate, and Varda, the queen of the stars. But Melkor also entered the world, not to create, but to rule and corrupt. Wherever the Valar built, he sought to tear down, twisting the world into darkness. The First War and the Coming of Light. The Valar and Melkor clashed in the first great war of Middle-earth. Mountains crumbled, oceans rose, and the land was scarred. For a time, destruction seemed endless. But then came Tulkas, the strong, the greatest warrior among the Valar. With his strength, he drove Melkor into hiding. At last, the Valar could bring light to the world. They raised two mighty lamps, Iluin and Ormal, which bathed the land in radiance. Under their glow, life flourished, and the world grew beautiful. Yet Melkor was not defeated forever. He watched from the shadows, waiting for his moment to strike. The dawn of a new age. The creation of Middle-earth was not a peaceful act, but a struggle between order and chaos, light and darkness. From the very beginning, the seeds of great conflicts were planted, battles that would shape the destinies of elves, men, dwarves, and all beings of Middle-earth. The grand tale of Middle-earth had just begun. The struggles between good and evil, creation and destruction were far from over. As time passed, new stories and legends would emerge, shaping the future of Arda and its inhabitants. These would include the coming of the elves, the rise of the great kingdoms, the creation of the Rings of Power, and the eternal battle between Sauron and those who sought to resist him. Through it all, the world would be shaped by the will of the Valar, the rebellion of Melkor, and the destinies of the children of Ilúvatar, who would play pivotal roles in the world's history. Even the smallest of actions would ripple through time, bringing light or darkness to the world of Middle-earth. The Valar, the guardians of the world. After the music of the Ainur shaped the vision of Arda, some of the most powerful Ainur chose to enter the world and become its caretakers. These beings were called the Valar, the supreme guardians of Middle-earth, who took physical forms to shape and protect the world according to Ilúvatar's design. Though they were divine beings, the Valar were not gods. They were stewards of Arda, each embodying a particular aspect of creation. However, their greatest struggle was against one of their own, Melkor, the most powerful of the Ainur, who sought dominion over Middle-earth. The Lords and Queens of the Valar. The Valar were 14 in number, divided into Lords, Aratar, and Queens, Ivalir. Each had unique abilities and domains of influence. The Lords of the Valar. 1. Manwë, the High King of Arda, Lord of the Air, Winds, and Birds. As Ilúvatar's chosen ruler, he resided on Mount Tanikitil and communicated directly with the Creator. He was the greatest enemy of Melkor. 2. Ulmo, the solitary lord of the seas and waters. Unlike the others, he rarely stayed in Valinor, preferring to wander the deeps of the oceans. He often guided elves and men in secret. 3. Aule, the master of crafts, smithing, and mountains. He forged the lands of Middle-earth and secretly created the dwarves. Though he was closest in nature to Melkor, he remained loyal to Ilúvatar. 4th Orome, the great hunter, protector of forests and wild creatures. He was among the first to find the elves, and resisted Melkor's creatures with his mighty horn, Valaroma. 5th Mandos, Namo, the doomsman of the Valar, ruler of the halls of the dead. He knew the fates of all beings, but revealed little. 6. Lórien Urmo, the master of dreams, visions, and rest his gardens in Valinor were a place of peace and wisdom. 7th Tulkas, the strongest of the Valar, the warrior of Arda. He arrived last, but was the most fearless opponent of Melkor, driving him into exile with his sheer might. The Queens of the Valar. First, Varda, the Queen of the Stars, Manwë's wife. She created the brightest stars and was feared by Melkor, who could not endure her light. 2. Yavanna, the giver of life, responsible for plants, trees, and all growing things. She later created the Two Trees of Valinor, which lit the world before the sun and moon. 3. Nienna, the Lady of Sorrow, representing grief and endurance. She wept for the suffering of Arda and taught wisdom through sorrow. 4. Esther, the healer and Lady of Rest. She brought peace and relief to both Valar and elves. 5th Vaere, the weaver of time, who recorded all events in the tapestry of Arda. 6th Vana, the ever-young, sister of Yavanna, whose presence made flowers bloom and birds sing. 7. Nessa, the swift dancer, wife of Tulkas, known for her speed and love of deer. The first war against Melkor. When the Valar entered Arda, they began shaping the world according to the vision they had seen. However, Melkor, who had also descended into Arda, sought to undo their work and claim the world for himself. This led to the First War, as Melkor battled against the Valar, corrupting their creations and filling the world with fire and chaos. For a long time, the battle was evenly matched. Melkor destroyed what the Valar built, and the Valar rebuilt what he destroyed. Eventually, with the arrival of Tulkas, Melkor was forced to retreat into the void, giving the Valar time to prepare Arda for the coming of the elves and men. The Valar's role in Middle-earth. After their victory, the Valar withdrew to the undying lands of Valinor, far from Middle-earth. They created the Two Trees of Valinor, which became the greatest source of light in the world. However, they did not completely abandon Middle-earth. They kept watch over the lands and occasionally intervened, especially when Melkor, now called Morgoth, returned and resumed his war against the Free Peoples. The Valar also sent their Maiar, lesser divine spirits, to Middle-earth, including figures like Gandalf, Saruman, and Sauron. Though they did not rule directly, their influence continued to shape the fate of Middle-earth. Legacy of the Valar. The Valar played a crucial role in the early history of Arda, from its creation to its shaping. However, as time passed, their direct involvement in Middle-earth lessened, leaving elves, men, and other beings to determine their own destinies. Despite this, their presence could still be felt through the stars, the forests, the seas, and the winds, the very elements of the world they shaped. Would they return in the world's final days? That remains a mystery known only to Ilúvatar himself. The journey to Valinor. In the first age of Middle-earth, the elves awoke by the waters of Cuiviénen, a mystical lake beneath the stars in the far east. Their awakening was a moment of divine beauty. They were the firstborn, the immortal children of Ilúvatar. For centuries, they lived in wonder, under starlight, before the Valar, the angelic powers of the world, came to summon them to Valinor, the blessed realm across the sea. The great journey begins. Many elves accepted the call and began the epic migration westward, across forests, rivers, plains, and mountain ranges. This was called the Great Journey. It was not an easy path, but the promise of eternal light and peace in Valinor kept them moving. Their hearts burned with curiosity and hope. Yet even then, the seeds of division began to form. The elves who stayed behind. Some elves refused the journey altogether. They were called the Avari, or the Unwilling. Their reasons were many: fear, distrust, or a deep love for the lands they knew. These elves remained close to Cuiviénen, living in secrecy. Over time, they would become scattered and hidden, their histories fading like whispers in the wind. The elves who turned back. Others began the journey, but turned back before reaching the sea. These were the Nandor. They were enchanted by the beauty of the forests and rivers, and decided to stay. Their descendants became known as the Sylvan Elves, dwellers of places like Lothlórien and Mirkwood. Gentle and reclusive, they kept to the trees and water. The Sindar, elves of the twilight. One group reached the western shores, but did not cross. These were the Sindar, the Grey Elves, led by Thingol, they stayed in Beleriand, where they built strong kingdoms like Doriath. They loved the twilight of Middle-earth, not darkness nor full light, but a quiet in between. The Sindar became some of the most noble and wise of the elves who stayed. Why they chose to stay. For many, the decision to stay was not out of rebellion, but out of devotion. Middle-earth was beautiful. The stars, the forests, the mountains, they felt tied to it. To them, it was not a world to be abandoned, but a place worth protecting. Their choice was spiritual, not political. The legacy of the elves in Middle-earth. Though they never reached Valinor, the elves who stayed shaped the history of Middle-earth. They fought Morgoth and Sauron, built legendary kingdoms, and guided men through times of darkness. From the great halls of Doriath to the golden woods of Lothlorien, their legacy lived on in song and story. Valinor versus Middle-earth. Valinor was eternal and peaceful, a paradise untouched by time. But Middle-earth was alive with struggle, growth, and change. Those who stayed chose a harder path, but also one filled with meaning. Their stories were not of stillness, but of passion and sacrifice. Conclusion. In the end, the elves who stayed behind became legends of a world destined to fade. They did not seek glory, but found it. Their memories echo in the wind, in the trees, and in the hearts of those who still tell tales of the firstborn beneath the stars. The creation of the dwarves by Ole. The first children that were not meant to be. Long before the elves opened their eyes under the stars, long before the race of men awakened to shape their destinies, there lived a Vala with a heart full of fire and a mind of endless creation. His name was Aule, the great smith of the Valar. Aule loved to shape the world. Mountains, metals, gems buried deep within the earth. But in his heart, he desired more. He longed to teach, to pass on his knowledge, to share the beauty of crafting with others who could understand and create with him. He could not wait for the children of Ilúvatar, the elves and men whose coming was still far off. So he made his own children. In secret, he formed them beneath the mountains. Strong, stubborn, resilient. He made 7, the fathers of the dwarves. But they were not truly alive. They could move, they could speak, but only because Aule was guiding them like a puppeteer. They had no true will, no independent thought. Ilúvatar knew of this creation. He came to Aule, not in anger, but in quiet judgment. He asked why Aule had made them without permission. Aule was filled with regret. He had not meant to challenge Ilúvatar, only to love and create. So Aule offered to destroy them. He raised his great hammer. But in that moment, the dwarves trembled. They stepped back in fear. They pleaded to be spared. And that was when Aule knew they were alive. Ilúvatar had seen Aule's humility, his honest heart, and had given the dwarves true life. But they could not wake before the elves. Ilúvatar had already set the order of the world. So he put the dwarves into deep sleep. To wait. Until the time was right, each of the 7 fathers of the dwarves would one day wake in a different mountain, and from them would come the 7 great clans. Durin the Deathless, founder of the Longbeards, would become the most famous of them all. The dwarves were not like elves or men. They were shorter in height, stronger in will. Their hearts burned with pride and endurance. They were difficult to corrupt, slow to trust, but fiercely loyal once that trust was earned, because they were not part of Ilúvatar's original design. Many elves distrusted them. Some saw them as unnatural, born from impatience. The dwarves did not forget this. They often kept to themselves, delving deep into stone, building vast cities like Khazad-dûm, and forging wonders unmatched. Yet despite all their differences, there were moments in the history of Middle-earth when dwarves and elves stood side by side, when honor overcame pride, and friendship broke through ancient walls. Still, the dwarves remained tied to the earth, to the fire, to the forge. They carved their history into stone. They passed on their songs from generation to generation. And they honored Aule, the one who gave them form. But they also owed their true life to Ilúvatar. And because of that, they became part of the world's great story, bound to the fate of Arda, just like the elves, just like the race of men, the dwarves, children of stone, born of a secret wish and a humble heart, were never meant to be, but they were, and they were proud. Their tale had begun, and the mountains would remember. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and share it with fellow Middle-earth fans. More epic tales await. Welcome to this journey through Middle-earth, where we explore the tragic tale of Feanor and the Silmarils, the jewels that changed the course of history. Let's dive into the heart of the First Age and discover how pride, beauty, and betrayal shaped an entire world. In the vast history of Middle-earth, few names shine as brightly and fall as tragically as Feanor, son of Finwë. He was the most gifted of the Ñoldor, an elven prince of unparalleled skill, intellect, and pride. But it was this very pride that led to the greatest tragedy of the First Age. Feanor's most famous creation was the Silmarils, 3 perfect jewels that captured the light of the 2 trees of Valinor. These trees, Telperion and Lorelin, gave light to the world before the sun and moon. Feanor, with a skill never seen before or since, managed to trap their light in crystal. The Silmarils glowed with a beauty so pure that even the Valar marveled at them. But such beauty could not go unnoticed. Melkor, the fallen Valar, later known as Morgoth, desired the Silmarils. His lust for their light and his hatred for the Valar led him to corrupt and manipulate the Ñoldor, spreading lies and discord. Eventually, Melkor struck. He destroyed the 2 trees, killed Finwë, and stole the Silmarils. The theft of the Silmarils was a turning point. In his fury and grief, Feanor swore a terrible oath. He and his 7 sons vowed to pursue anyone who kept the Silmarils from them. This oath, known as the Oath of Feanor, bound them to a dark path and brought doom not just upon themselves, but upon many innocent lives. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to like and subscribe. In their quest, the Ñoldor committed the first kinslaying, attacking their fellow elves to seize ships for their journey to Middle-earth. This bloodshed was unprecedented and shocked even the Valar. As punishment, the Valar pronounced the doom of Mandos. Sorrow, betrayal, and loss would follow the Ñoldor. Feanor himself would not live long. He died in battle soon after arriving in Middle-earth, consumed by wrath and fire. But his oath lived on, carried by his sons, who caused great wars and sorrow as they tried to reclaim the Silmarils. In the end, the Silmarils were lost, one in the sky with Eärendil, one in the earth, and one in the sea. None remained in elven hands. The light they held, once a symbol of hope, became a curse. Feanor's legacy is one of brilliance and ruin. He was the greatest of the elves, but his pride and possessiveness doomed not only himself, but an entire age. The story of Feanor and the Silmarils reminds us that even the brightest light can cast the darkest shadow. Middle-earth is full of epic events, wars, heroes, dark lords. But have you ever wondered, why is everything divided into ages? What does it really mean when we say First Age, Second Age, or Third Age? Let's break it down. In Tolkien's Legendarium, the passage of time is not just a calendar. It's mythic. Each age represents a major chapter in the history of the world, and each begins and ends with world-shaping events. The First Age is the Age of the Elves. It begins with the awakening of the elves by the waters of Cuiviénen. This is when the Valar first notice the children of Ilúvatar. From here, history unfolds like a song of light and shadow. Feanor creates the Silmarils. Morgoth steals them. The Ñoldor rebel and return to Middle-earth. And the entire age becomes a war for those sacred jewels. It ends with the War of Wrath, when the Valar finally intervene and defeat Morgoth. The land of Beleriand is destroyed. That's how massive the ending of the First Age is. The Second Age is the Age of Númenor and rising men. After Morgoth's fall, Sauron rises. He manipulates the elves to forge the rings of power. Secretly, he forges the One Ring. Meanwhile, Númenor, the great island kingdom of men, grows powerful. But pride corrupts them. Sauron deceives the Númenorians, leading to the downfall of their entire civilization. The age ends with the last alliance of elves and men. Isildur cuts the ring from Sauron's hand. And once again, the world changes forever. The Third Age is the age of decline. Elves are fading. Dwarves hide in their halls. Men are divided, and Sauron returns. But now the story becomes more personal. This is the age of hobbits, of the Fellowship, of Frodo and Sam, of Aragorn reclaiming the throne. The ring is destroyed, and with it, the ancient powers of the world begin to fade. That's why the ages matter. Each one is a closing act of a vast mythological drama. They're not just dates, they're eras of meaning. If you're enjoying this journey into the deep lore of Tolkien's world, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps us keep the story going. So, what happens in the Fourth Age? That, my friend, is a story for another time. Morgoth was once known as Melkor, the most powerful of all Ainur. yet within him burned an unquenchable thirst for power and dominance. While the other Valar shaped the world in harmony, Melkor sought to rule it. He rebelled against the will of Eru, sowing chaos in Arda from its very beginning. After centuries of war and destruction, the Valar defeated him and bound him with a chain forged by Tulkas. He was brought to Valinor and imprisoned for 3 ages. But the Valar, in their mercy, believed he could be reformed. And so, after his time was served, they released him. That decision would haunt the world forever. Outwardly calm and repentant, Morgoth masked his malice. In secret, he whispered lies, planting seeds of doubt and pride, especially among the Ñoldor elves. His most dangerous target was Feanor, the most gifted of the elves, who had just forged the Silmarils, 3 perfect jewels that captured the light of the Two Trees. Morgoth coveted the Silmarils more than anything. He feigned admiration, but Feanor grew suspicious. Tensions rose, and when the Valar attempted to calm the elves, Morgoth struck. He allied with Ungoliant, a monstrous spider-like being from the darkness beyond the world. Together, they destroyed the 2 trees of Valinor, plunging the land into night. In the chaos, Morgoth murdered Finwë, Feanor's father, and stole the Silmarils. He fled back to Middle-earth, betraying Ungoliant along the way, and returned to his fortress, Angband. There, beneath the Iron Mountains, he placed the Silmarils in an iron crown, though they burned him with holy fire. Still, he wore them, his hatred greater than pain. With the Silmarils as trophies and his power rising once more, Morgoth declared himself King of Arda. He reforged his armies. Balrogs crawled from the pits, orcs multiplied, trolls and terrible beasts gathered, and from the shadows the first dragons stirred. The Ñoldor, enraged by Morgoth's betrayal and the loss of their sacred jewels, rebelled against the Valar's council. Feanor swore a terrible oath with his sons to recover the Silmarils at all cost against any being who withheld them. This oath would bring centuries of war and sorrow. The Ñoldor departed from Valinor, committing the first kinslaying at Alqualondë, a tragic event where elves killed elves to steal ships. Cursed by their actions, they sailed to Middle-earth, unaware of the doom that awaited them. Meanwhile, Morgoth had turned the land of Beleriand into a dark realm of fear. He corrupted the skies, poisoned rivers, and sent spies across the forests. He remained hidden, letting the Ñoldor believe they could challenge him. But in truth, he was ready. When the Ñoldor began settling in Middle-earth, Morgoth attacked swiftly. Feanor, in his fury, charged Angband and was slain by Balrogs. His sons continued the war, but the darkness spread. The wars of Beleriand had begun, centuries of bloodshed, betrayal, and fading hope. If you enjoy deep dives into the lore of Middle-earth, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more epic stories from Tolkien's Legendarium. Thus began the First Age, not with peace, but with fire, shadow, and a crown of stolen light. The Awakening of the Elves and the War against Melkor. The Awakening of the Elves. The elves, the firstborn of Ilúvatar, awoke under the stars of Middle-earth in the land of Cuiviénen, located in the distant east. Their awakening marked the beginning of the First Age and the arrival of the first sentient beings to walk the lands of Arda. For long years, the elves lived in peace by the waters of Cuiviénen, marveling at the beauty of the world and naming the things they saw. They had no knowledge of the Valar or of the dark forces that lurked in the shadows. Yet Melkor, the most powerful of the Ainur who had turned against Ilúvatar's will, had been watching them in secret. Melkor's influence and the first shadows. Melkor feared and hated the elves, for he saw them as a challenge to his dominion over Middle-earth. He sent out spies and creatures to observe them, and it is said that some of the elves who wandered too far from their kin were captured and never returned. It is believed by many that these unfortunate elves were taken to Melkor's stronghold of Utumno and twisted into the first orcs, a mockery of their kind. The Valar, the angelic rulers of the world, had long stayed in the west, tending to their own realm of Valinor. Yet when Orome, one of the Valar, discovered the elves while riding through Middle-earth, he rejoiced at their beauty and wisdom. However, he also saw the danger they were in and warned the other Valar of Melkor's growing threat. The Valar's debate. Upon learning of the elves, the Valar held a great council to decide their fate. Some wished to leave them in Middle-earth to forge their own path, while others feared Melkor's influence and believed they should be protected. In the end, Manwë, the king of the Valar, decreed that Melkor's evil must be eradicated, so that the elves could live free of his shadow. Thus, the Valar prepared for war, the greatest conflict Arda had yet seen, the war against Melkor. The Valar gathered their forces and marched upon Utumno, Melkor's great fortress in the far north. This was known as the Battle of the Powers, a war that shook the foundations of the world. The conflict lasted for years, with the Valar tearing down to Melkor's strongholds one by one. The land itself was reshaped by the violence, and the skies were filled with fire and storm. In the end, Melkor was captured, bound in chains by Tulkas, the strongest of the Valar. Melkor's defeat and the elves' journey west. With Melkor defeated, the Valar turned their attention back to the elves. They sent messengers to invite them to Valinor, where they could dwell in peace under the light of the two trees. Yet not all elves chose to go. Some feared the journey, while others had grown to love Middle-earth and wished to stay. This choice led to the great division of the elves, the Eldar, who traveled west, and the Avari, who refused the summons and remained in the lands of their birth. The war was over, but its consequences would shape the history of Middle-earth for ages to come. Melkor, the first Dark Lord. Before the world was fully formed, before the lands of Middle-earth took shape, there was Melkor, the mightiest of all Ainur. Created by Ilúvatar with immense power and wisdom, Melkor had the potential to be the greatest of the Valar. However, his ambition and pride led him down a path of rebellion, destruction, and darkness. He became the first Dark Lord, later known as Morgoth, the ultimate source of all evil in Middle-earth. Melkor's rebellion against Ilúvatar. Even before the creation of Arda, during the music of the Ainur, Melkor sought to weave his own melodies into Ilúvatar's great theme. Unlike the other Ainur, who worked in harmony, Melkor wanted to dominate the music and impose his own will upon the world. His discordant notes clashed against the melody, causing great turmoil. Yet Ilúvatar, in his wisdom, used even Melkor's rebellion to shape a greater and more profound song. Realizing that Ilúvatar's design was beyond his control, Melkor became filled with jealousy and rage. When the Ainur entered Arda to shape the world, Melkor descended with them, not to create, but to conquer. Melkor versus the Valar. The First War. Once inside Arda, Melkor began destroying what the Valar built. He twisted the lands, set the seas ablaze, and filled the world with cold and darkness. His power was so vast that the Valar struggled to oppose him. Every time they raised mountains, he leveled them. When they carved rivers, he dried them up. This endless conflict became known as the First War of Arda. For ages, the world remained in chaos, a battlefield between creation and destruction. However, when Tulkas, the strongest of the Valar, entered Arda, he drove Melkor away. Defeated for the time being, Melkor retreated into the void, seething with hatred and plotting his return. The rise of Morgoth. Though Melkor had been driven away, he was not gone forever. Over time, he returned in secret, spreading his influence and corrupting the world. His greatest weapons were not just brute strength, but deception and lies. He whispered doubts and fears into the hearts of others, sowing the seeds of discord. He found followers among the lesser spirits, the Maiar, convincing some to join him. Among them was Sauron, who would later become his most loyal lieutenant. Melkor also twisted and corrupted many of the creatures of Arda, creating monstrous beings such as Balrogs, dragons, and orcs. With his new army, Melkor waged war once more against the Valar, earning himself a new title. Morgoth, the black foe of the world, the destruction of the Two Lamps. Before the creation of the Two Trees of Valinor, the world was lit by two massive lamps, Iluin and Ormal, placed in the north and south of Arda. These lamps illuminated the lands, bringing warmth and light. However, Morgoth, still jealous of the Valar's work, plotted their destruction. With the help of his monstrous servants, he launched a surprise attack, shattering the two lamps and plunging the world into darkness. The destruction of the lamps caused great upheaval, reshaping the lands and forcing the Valar to retreat to Valinor, where they would later create the Two Trees. This event marked the beginning of Morgoth's true reign of terror in Middle-earth, the great enemy of elves and men. As the ages passed, Morgoth continued to shape Middle-earth in his own image. He built fortresses, most notably Utumno and Angband, where he gathered his forces. When the elves awoke in Middle-earth, Morgoth was the first to find them. He captured and twisted many of them, giving rise to the first orcs, a mockery of the elves. Later, he waged war against the elves, men, and even the Valar during the First Age. His conflict with Fëanor and the Silmarils, his war against the kingdom of Beleriand, and his ultimate defeat at the hands of the Valar and the host of the West marked his legacy as the greatest villain of Middle-earth's history. The fall of Morgoth. Despite his immense power, Morgoth's arrogance was his downfall. Unlike Sauron, who learned to deceive and manipulate, Morgoth was a tyrant who ruled by brute force and fear. His cruelty turned many against him, and after centuries of war, the Valar finally launched the War of Wrath, in which Morgoth was defeated. Captured and chained, he was cast into the void, beyond the world, where he remains imprisoned. However, legends say that he will one day return for the final battle, a great war that will decide the fate of Arda forever. Morgoth's legacy. Though Morgoth was banished, his influence never truly faded. His corruption remained in the world, and his greatest servant, Sauron, rose to take his place. the shadow of Morgoth's evil continued to shape the events of Middle-earth for ages to come. His story serves as a warning that even the mightiest can fall, and that unchecked ambition leads only to ruin. The music of the Ainur, the creation of the world. Before Middle-earth existed, there was only Eru Ilúvatar, the supreme creator. From his thoughts, he brought forth the Ainur, divine spirits who would shape the world. Each Ainu had unique gifts, but the most powerful was Melkor, who was ambitious and desired dominion beyond Ilúvatar's design. Ilúvatar introduced the great music, a celestial symphony that would form the foundation of the world. At first, the Ainur sang in perfect harmony, creating a melody of order and beauty. But Melkor, filled with pride and a desire for control, introduced his own themes, clashing against the harmony with discordant notes. His music brought chaos, breaking the unity of the Ainur's song. In response, Ilúvatar introduced a second theme, one of deep sorrow, yet filled with hope and endurance. This melody represented the children of Ilúvatar, elves and men, who would one day inhabit the world. Despite Melkor's interference, this theme did not break. Rather, it grew stronger in adversity. However, Melkor refused to yield and intensified his disruptions, seeking to overpower the music. Then Ilúvatar rose from his throne and introduced a third theme, unlike anything before. It was majestic and serene, so vast that Melkor's chaotic noise became insignificant before it. This final melody wove even Melkor's discord into a greater harmony, proving that Ilúvatar's will was absolute. When the music ended, the Ainur stood in awe, realizing they had created something beyond themselves, the vision of Arda. Ilúvatar then revealed a vision of the world shaped by their song, Arda, the realm that would become Middle-earth. The Ainur saw its mountains, rivers, forests, and seas. They also saw the elves and men, beings with free will, unlike the Ainur, whose destinies even they could not fully understand. Melkor, however, envied this creation and desired to rule it. Ilúvatar then gave the world true existence, sending it beyond the timeless halls. Some Ainur, captivated by what they had made, chose to enter this new world. These became the Valar, the great guardians of Arda, and their lesser kin, the Maiar. Among them were Manwë, Lord of the Skies, and Ilúvatar's chosen ruler of Arda; Varda, Queen of the Stars, whose light Melkor feared; Aule, the smith, who shaped the land and later created the dwarves; Ulmo, the solitary lord of the seas; Yavanna, the bringer of life, who nurtured plants and animals; Melkor's rebellion and the first war. But Melkor also entered the world, not as a protector, but as a tyrant. He sought to dominate Arda, bending it to his own will. From the moment of his arrival, he began corrupting and destroying the works of the Valar, turning harmony into chaos. Thus began the first war of Arda, as the Valar struggled to shape the world, while Melkor sought to ruin it. Manwë and the other Valar fought against Melkor, but his power was great. The world itself trembled as mountains rose and seas boiled in their struggle. For a time, it seemed that Melkor might prevail. But the Valar did not give up, and through their combined strength, they drove him away into the darkness. The beginning of Middle-earth. Though Melkor was temporarily defeated, his influence remained. The world had been shaped, but it bore the scars of his interference. Strife, suffering, and evil had entered Arda, just as beauty and wonder had. Thus, the great music had ended, but its echoes would remain forever in Middle-earth. The world had begun, and its story was about to unfold. The Two Trees of Valinor, the golden and silver light. Before the sun and the moon illuminated the skies, the world of Arda was bathed in the radiant glow of the Two Trees of Valinor, Telperion and Laurelin. These divine trees, created by the Valar, stood in the land of Aman, providing light and beauty to the world. Their golden and silver radiance symbolized the harmony and splendor of the undying lands. The creation of the two trees. After Morgoth, then known as Melkor, destroyed the two lamps, plunging Arda into chaos, the Valar withdrew to Valinor, a sacred land in the west. There, Yavanna, the queen of earth and growth, sang a song of power, and with her divine music she brought forth two magnificent trees. Telperion, the elder tree, shone with a soft silver light. Its leaves were dark green above and silver underneath, and its blooms glowed with a pale luminescence. Laurelin, the younger tree, radiated a warm golden light. Its leaves were a vibrant green, edged with gold, and its blossoms shimmered like liquid sunlight. The light of the two trees waxed and waned in turn, each illuminating Valinor for 7 hours at a time. Their cycle created a time of peace and prosperity, a golden age for the Valar and the elves who had traveled to Valinor. The blessed light of the trees. The radiance of Telperion and Laurelin was unlike any light seen before or since. It was purer than the later sun and moon, carrying divine energy that nourished and strengthened those who lived under it. The Eldar, elves, revered the trees, and their light inspired the creation of many wonders, including the legendary Silmarils, which would later become the cause of great tragedy. Morgoth and Ungoliant, the destruction of the two trees. Even in Valinor, Morgoth still sought vengeance against the Valar. He allied himself with Ungoliant, a monstrous, primordial spider-like being with an insatiable hunger for light and power. Together, they devised a plan to extinguish the radiance of the two trees. On a fateful day, during a great feast of the Valar, Morgoth and Ungoliant crept into Valinor unnoticed. Morgoth plunged his spear into the trunks of the two trees, wounding them deeply. As the life within them withered, Ungoliant drank their light, devouring their essence until nothing remained but blackened husks. The sacred glow of Valinor faded, and the land was cast into darkness. This event, known as the Darkening of Valinor, marked the beginning of great turmoil, leading to Morgoth's theft of the Silmarils and the eventual downfall of Beleriand in the First Age, the last remnants of the two trees. Though the trees were destroyed, not all of their light was lost. From the last silver flower of Telperion and the final golden fruit of Lorelin, the Valar created the moon and the sun, which were placed in the sky to bring light to Middle-earth. Additionally, the Silmarils, crafted by Feanor, preserved the last pure light of the trees. This light became a source of great conflict as Morgoth stole the Silmarils, leading to the Oath of Feanor and the tragic wars that followed. The legacy of the Two Trees. The Two Trees of Valinor symbolize the beauty, harmony, and divine power of the Valar. Their destruction was a turning point in the history of Middle-earth, leading to the ages of darkness and struggle that followed. Yet echoes of their radiance lived on through the Silmarils, the stars, and the undying lands of Valinor. To this day, their memory lingers in the myths of elves and men, a reminder of a lost age of light and wonder. The origins of orcs, trolls, and other creatures. In the beginning, there was only music. From the great song of the Ainur came the world of Arda, a place of beauty, balance, and harmony. But not all melodies were pure. Among the Ainur, the most powerful spirit was Melkor, later known as Morgoth. Though he was granted great knowledge and power by Eru Ilúvatar, Melkor's heart was consumed by envy. He desired to rule, to dominate, to shape the world according to his own will. But Morgoth, like all the Ainur, could not create life. That power belonged only to Ilúvatar. So Morgoth did what he knew best. He corrupted. One of his most horrifying acts was the creation, or rather the perversion, of living beings into monsters that would serve his dark purposes. And thus began the tale of the orcs, the trolls, and other creatures of shadow. According to the most widely accepted tale, the first orcs were originally elves, the firstborn of Ilúvatar. Before the awakening of men, Morgoth captured some of the elves who wandered too far from their kin. Deep in the dungeons of Utumno, he tortured them, twisted their forms, and broke their wills through endless torment. Over time, these elves became something else entirely: cruel, violent, and filled with hatred. This theory makes the orcs one of the greatest tragedies in Tolkien's world. Beings once filled with light and immortality were turned into instruments of darkness, not by choice, but through enslavement and pain. Tolkien himself struggled with the theological implications of this. If orcs were once elves or men, did they still possess souls? Were they capable of morality, of change, or were they eternally damned by Morgoth's hand? Could they rebel against evil, or were they merely puppets unable to escape their fate? We may never know. Trolls, on the other hand, were a mockery of another race entirely: the Ents. Morgoth, jealous of the natural strength and wisdom of the trees and forests, created the trolls as monstrous imitations. But they lacked the grace and depth of the Ents. Trolls were brutes, powerful, dim-witted, and entirely dependent on the will of their master. Early trolls were flawed. They turned to stone in sunlight, a weakness that revealed their unnatural creation. But Morgoth didn't stop there. His servant, Sauron, would later engineer stronger, smarter versions, like the Olog-hai, trolls who could withstand sunlight and wield weapons with brutal skill. From the depths of Angband came many horrors. Orcs bred in countless numbers, each designed for a different purpose. Smaller ones for tunnels and ambushes, larger, stronger breeds for battlefield carnage. Wargs were wolves corrupted by evil will. Giant spiders, like Ungoliant and her spawn Shelob, were dark spirits in monstrous form. Even dragons, like Glaurung and Ankalagon, were not natural beings, but terrible creations of Morgoth's will, destruction given wings and fire. This legacy of corruption did not end with Morgoth's defeat. Sauron, once a Maya of Aulor, followed his master's path. He refined the arts of domination, perfecting the use of fear and manipulation. The orcs remained his main soldiers in the wars of the Second and Third Ages. From the darkest corners of Mordor to the deepest pits beneath the Misty Mountains, they multiplied and they endured. Because evil does not vanish, it lingers. Even after Morgoth was cast into the void, his influence remained. In the cruelty of the orcs, in the strength of the trolls, in the lies whispered by the servants of Sauron, the shadow lived on. The world of Middle-earth is not just a tale of heroes and light. It is also a world of fallen beauty, of power used to destroy, and of creatures who were shaped by fear and pain. And perhaps that's what makes Tolkien's world so haunting and so real. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe for more epic tales from Middle-earth. The creation of Middle-earth and Eru Ilúvatar. The story of Middle-earth begins with Eru Ilúvatar, the supreme creator who existed beyond time and space. He alone brought forth existence, shaping reality through his divine thought and will. Before the world's birth, Ilúvatar created the Ainur, immortal spirits, each representing different aspects of creation. Some embodied nature, others wisdom or strength. The most powerful of these spirits were called the Valar, who would descend into the world to shape and protect it. Lesser spirits, the Maiar, served them. But among the Ainur, Melkor was the greatest and the most rebellious. He longed to create independently, to rule and shape existence according to his own will. His growing pride and ambition would later plunge the world into darkness. The Eilindala. The music of the Ainur Ilúvatar gathered the Ainur and revealed to them a divine melody, a grand theme that would shape the fabric of existence. The Ainur sang together, their voices blending in perfect harmony. This was the Ainu Lindale, the first great act of creation. But Melkor, desiring power, introduced discord into the music, disrupting its harmony. He sought to impose his own will, and chaos spread through the song. Yet Ilúvatar, rather than stopping him, wove even greater beauty into the melody, showing that even defiance could serve a higher purpose. When the music ended, Ilúvatar revealed what they had created, a vision of Arda, the world that would become Middle-earth. The Ainur saw its lands, oceans, and its greatest mystery, elves and men, the children of Ilúvatar. But this was only a vision, not yet reality. Then Ilúvatar spoke a single, mighty word. Let it be. With this command, the world was made real. The Valar and the shaping of the world, Ainur, captivated by Arda, chose to descend into it, becoming the Valar, the great lords of Middle-earth. Among them was Manwë, the Lord of the Winds, chosen as Arda's ruler. With him were Ulmo, master of the seas, Aule, the forger of the mountains, and Yavanna, the giver of life. Others included Mandos, keeper of fate, and Varda, the queen of the stars. But Melkor also entered the world, not to create, but to rule and corrupt. Wherever the Valar built, he sought to tear down, twisting the world into darkness. The First War and the Coming of Light. The Valar and Melkor clashed in the First Great War of Middle-earth. Mountains crumbled, oceans rose, and the land was scarred. For a time, destruction seemed endless. But then came Tulkas, the strong, the greatest warrior among the Valar. With his strength, he drove Melkor into hiding. At last, the Valar could bring light to the world. They raised two mighty lamps, Iluin and Ormal, which bathed the land in radiance. Under their glow, life flourished, and the world grew beautiful. Yet Melkor was not defeated forever. He watched from the shadows, waiting for his moment to strike. The dawn of a new age. The creation of Middle-earth was not a peaceful act, but a struggle between order and chaos, light and darkness. From the very beginning, the seeds of great conflicts were planted, battles that would shape the destinies of elves, men, dwarves, and all beings of Middle-earth. The grand tale of Middle-earth had just begun. The struggles between good and evil, creation and destruction, were far from over. As time passed, new stories and legends would emerge, shaping the future of Arda and its inhabitants. These would include the coming of the elves, the rise of the great kingdoms, the creation of the Rings of Power, and the eternal battle between Sauron and those who sought to resist him. Through it all, the world would be shaped by the will of the Valar, the rebellion of Melkor, and the destinies of the children of Ilúvatar, who would play pivotal roles in the world's history. Even the smallest of actions would ripple through time, bringing light or darkness to the world of Middle-earth. The Valar, the guardians of the world. After the music of the Ainur shaped the vision of Arda, some of the most powerful Ainur chose to enter the world and become its caretakers. These beings were called the Valar, the supreme guardians of Middle-earth, who took physical forms to shape and protect the world according to Ilúvatar's design. Though they were divine beings, the Valar were not gods. They were stewards of Arda, each embodying a particular aspect of creation. However, their greatest struggle was against one of their own, Melkor, the most powerful of the Ainur, who sought dominion over Middle-earth. The lords and queens of the Valar. The Valar were 14 in number, divided into lords, Aratar, and queens, Ivalír. Each had unique abilities and domains of influence. The lords of the Valar. 1. Manwë, the High King of Arda, Lord of the Air, Winds, and Birds. As Ilúvatar's chosen ruler, he resided on Mount Tanikitil and communicated directly with the Creator. He was the greatest enemy of Melkor. 2. Ulmo, the solitary lord of the seas and waters. Unlike the others, he rarely stayed in Valinor, preferring to wander the deeps of the oceans. He often guided elves and men in secret. 3. Aule, the master of crafts, smithing, and mountains. he forged the lands of Middle-earth and secretly created the dwarves. Though he was closest in nature to Melkor, he remained loyal to Ilúvatar. Fourth Orome, the great hunter, protector of forests and wild creatures. He was among the first to find the elves, and resisted Melkor's creatures with his mighty horn, Valaroma. Fifth Mandos, Namo, the doomsman of the Valar, ruler of the halls of the dead. He knew the fates of all beings, but revealed little. 6. Lórien Urmo, the master of dreams, visions, and rest. His gardens in Valinor were a place of peace and wisdom. 7th Tulkas, the strongest of the Valar, the warrior of Arda. He arrived last, but was the most fearless opponent of Melkor, driving him into exile with his sheer might. The Queens of the Valar. First, Varda, the Queen of the Stars, Manwë's wife. She created the brightest stars and was feared by Melkor, who could not endure her light. 2. Yavanna, the giver of life, responsible for plants, trees, and all growing things. She later created the Two Trees of Valinor, which lit the world before the sun and moon. 3. Nienna, the Lady of Sorrow, representing grief and endurance. She wept for the suffering of Arda and taught wisdom through sorrow. 4. Esther, the healer and Lady of Rest. She brought peace and relief to both Valar and elves. 5th Vaere, the weaver of time, who recorded all events in the tapestry of Arda. 6th Vana, the ever-young, sister of Yavanna, whose presence made flowers bloom and birds sing. 7. Nessa, the swift dancer, wife of Tulkas, known for her speed and love of deer. The first war against Melkor. When the Valar entered Arda, they began shaping the world according to the vision they had seen. However, Melkor, who had also descended into Arda, sought to undo their work and claim the world for himself. This led to the First War, as Melkor battled against the Valar, corrupting their creations and filling the world with fire and chaos. For a long time, the battle was evenly matched. Melkor destroyed what the Valar built, and the Valar rebuilt what he destroyed. Eventually, with the arrival of Tulkas, Melkor was forced to retreat into the void, giving the Valar time to prepare Arda for the coming of the elves and men. The Valar's role in Middle-earth. After their victory, the Valar withdrew to the undying lands of Valinor, far from Middle-earth. They created the Two Trees of Valinor, which became the greatest source of light in the world. However, they did not completely abandon Middle-earth. They kept watch over the lands and occasionally intervened, especially when Melkor, now called Morgoth, returned and resumed his war against the Free Peoples. The Valar also sent their Maiar, lesser divine spirits, to Middle-earth, including figures like Gandalf, Saruman, and Sauron. Though they did not rule directly, their influence continued to shape the fate of Middle-earth. Legacy of the Valar. The Valar played a crucial role in the early history of Arda, from its creation to its shaping. However, as time passed, their direct involvement in Middle-earth lessened, leaving elves, men, and other beings to determine their own destinies. Despite this, their presence could still be felt through the stars, the forests, the seas, and the winds, the very elements of the world they shaped. Would they return in the world's final days? That remains a mystery known only